It's the show that magicians around the globe don't want you to see. The Masked Magician is back, out of hiding, daring to expose the world's most highly guarded secrets. You'll find out how they perform amazing appearances, death-defying escapes, baffling levitations, astounding vanishes, mind-blowing sleight of hand, and impossible illusions. No magician is too famous. No trick too big. No secret too sacred. The magician's code will be forever broken on magic's biggest secrets finally revealed. Tonight, the Masked Magician pulls back the curtain and exposes the secrets to producing a 5-ton elephant from out of the blue, making beautiful women materialize, levitate, disappear, and survive being sliced, diced, and taken for a spin. Right now on Magic's Biggest Secrets Finally Revealed.
Tonight's first illusion demonstrates the magician's power to convince the audience he can make his assistants come and go at will. Here are 2 of them now. So far, he's delivered on half of his promise. At his request, they covered this ordinary table with a large sheet. We could see that there was nothing below. Using a chair, the magician steps up onto the table to prove that there is nothing above. He lures in another girl to join him on the tabletop. This guy's got the magic touch. One of the assistants hands him the chair, which he places in the center of the table. He then orders the girl to sit down in the chair, and he quickly places her under his spell. The other assistants return with yet another sheet. The magician tells us to watch as he lifts the sheet in front of the girl. Again, we can see that there is nothing below the table. But now, we can't see the girl. He whisks away the sheet, and she's gone. Pity. She was starting to grow on me. The other assistants help him remove the chair, and we can see that she's really gone. This is one vanish that is going to be difficult to explain. Now they remove the sheet from the tabletop. Again, we can see underneath the table that the girl is nowhere to be found. And that's the easy way to make the ladies come and go. When the illusion began, the magician entered. He showed us that the table is empty and there is nothing underneath. It was covered with a sheet, and the girl took her position on the chair. The second sheet was lifted, and just like that, she's gone. Here are the secrets. Attached to the back of the table is a small platform containing steel rollers. When the sheet is placed on the table, it conceals the platform from view. We can still see it from the back and from above. When the magician raises the sheet in front of the girl, she secretly gets up from the chair and climbs down onto the platform. This is where she hides while he whisks away the sheet. From these angles, you can see her lying on the platform. The magician hands the sheet and chair to his assistants and draws our attention to the empty tabletop. Meanwhile, the girl is sliding across the steel rollers to another hiding place behind the chair. The magician blocks the audience view of the girl as she takes her position, but her work isn't finished yet. The chair conceals another secret, a hidden platform. While the magician continues to distract us, the girl flips down the small wheeled platform that's built into the back of the chair and climbs on board. When the other assistant removes the chair, the girl simply goes along for the ride. Now for the platform on the table. When the assistants remove the sheet, they also remove the platform with the rollers. Here it is from behind. Simple, but effective. The magician remains in front of the table and the girl is nowhere to be found, except you know the secrets. The magician will now show off with a classic card trick. In this case, the gorgeous blonde is standing in for a random volunteer. She's not in on the trick. He rifles through the deck to show us that the cards are of the standard playing variety. He fans out the cards and asks the girl to pick one and show it to the camera. The 10 of spades. Hey, she's good. Really good. She places her 10 of spades back into the deck as instructed. Without manipulating the cards, the magician places the deck into a clear glass wine goblet. A little magic, and the 10 of spades begins to rise. She seems to recognize it as her card, and it is. A neat trick, but I'm sure it would take diamonds to impress this lovely lady. So how does the magician make the girl's card rise? The secret is in this almost ordinary deck of cards. He has his volunteers select one at random, and this really is a random choice. However, she places the card back into the deck exactly where the magician wants it. He's in control of a special trick card that he wants behind hers. Take a closer look as he places his card on top of the girl's. This special card is equipped with a counterweight, which causes a small pad to rise when the card is turned, upside down. Watch again as the little pad rises. On the pad is a small dot of wax that sticks to the back of the chosen card. Look at how the counterweight makes the 10 of spades rise, like magic. Watch it rise again. There's the trick card with the dot of wax. The chosen card is placed in front of it. Then everything is placed into the glass. A few magical gestures, a jiggle of the glass to get things moving, and the magician gets a rise out of the card and, hopefully, the girl. But you know his secret.
Next, find out the secrets to making beautiful women appear and levitate without hidden wires. And how street magicians make discarded beverage cans come back to life. Plus, coming up, a girl faces a trial separation when she's sliced in 3. And an
TV4.
For centuries, magicians have been making audiences believe that they have mastered the art of levitation. Tonight, the masked magician proves yet again that it's all one big trick. His beautiful lady is all dressed up, but she's got nowhere to go. He wants her right where she is, on this ordinary wooden plank. She dutifully stretches out on the plank and makes herself comfortable. But one girl isn't enough for our masked man, so he calls in some backup. His assistant removes the center pedestal from beneath the plank so that it's now supported only by the two chairs. Looks like it can hold her. Another assistant joins the party, and they all engage in some mystical movements. Guess this puts him in the mood. On his command, the two assistants remove the chairs, leaving the plank and the lady suspended in midair. It's as if she's floating on a cloud, made of solid oak. The magician waves his arms above her to prove that there are no hidden wires. And now the camera will travel all the way around back to prove that there's nothing supporting her from the rear. This levitation is impossible to explain. The magician keeps waving his arms, and yes, she and the wood plank are still floating. He calls the other assistants back in, and they replace the two chairs. Next, he beckons for the center pedestal. When it's in place, he makes a few more passes to awaken Sleeping Beauty. She's pretty when she just wakes up. And there you have it, one of the oldest tricks in the book. But what's the secret? How does the magician make it look like the lady is floating in midair, even from this backstage angle? You're about to find out. The first trick is getting a beautiful woman to lie down on a wooden plank. But the real trick is hidden behind the center pedestal. When the assistant removes the pedestal, it appears that the only things holding up the plank and the girl are the two chairs. The truth is, you're staring right at the secret. Cleverly hidden in the magician's pants is a third leg. There it is, strong as a rock. You'll see how it works in a minute. When the assistants remove the two chairs, it looks like the girl on the plank is floating. From the back, his right leg hides the support in the third leg. But from this angle, you can see that the fake leg is supporting the plank. Here it is before the trick begins, waiting for the magician to step into position. For a closer look, the girl removes the fake leg. From the back, it looks like he should fire his tailor. Now here's the plank supported by the steel brace. When the fake leg is in place, you'd never suspect it was there. And that's how the magician creates the illusion that a gorgeous young woman can float through life with no visible means of support. Here's a trick that's common among street magicians. It uses a seemingly ordinary everyday object. After some minor league dumpster diving, the magician finds a crumpled soda can in the trash. Looks like someone doesn't recycle. No matter, the magician plans to do a little recycling of his own. A magical gesture and a shake to prove the can is empty, and how about that? The dents disappear. Well, most of them do. Still, pretty impressive. Another magical gesture, and the magician attempts to pull the tab and break the hermetic seal. Wait, I thought that this can was empty and discarded. We'll just see about that. A nice cold beverage, anyone? That's how you recycle a soda can by magic. But we all know there's no such thing. First, the masked magician selects what appears to be a discarded soda can. Before the trick began, the magician secretly prepared this ordinary can. Using a very sharp knife, he makes a tiny puncture in the can and outsprays the soda. The magician releases just enough soda to create an air pocket inside the can. Before all of the liquid can escape, he seals the hole with some waterproof tape. Next, the magician covers the pop top with a small circle of black paper. From a distance, the black disc creates the illusion that you are looking into an open and empty can. In reality, the top is still factory sealed. Finally, the magician carefully bends the can, creating the impression that it's been crushed and discarded. The stagehand places the can on top of a pile of phony garbage, and the illusion is ready to begin. To perform the trick, the magician picks up the can and gently shakes it. Here's where paying attention during science class comes in handy. Shaking the can causes the gas bubbles inside to build up pressure. As the pressure increases, the air inside the can expands and causes the dents to pop back out. Next, the magician secretly removes the disc of black paper. Revealing the factory seal on the top of the can is untouched. All that's left to do now is flip up the tab, break the seal, and pour out the remaining soda. It looks convincing, but when the masked magician is around, you can bet it's not the real thing.
Next, find out how a beautiful girl loses her head and feet when she faces razor-sharp stainless steel blades. And then the magician blows the secrets to capturing a spirit, impaling his arm, causing a woman to materialize by magic, and making a 5-ton elephant appear in a crowd of spectators.
The magician has something dangerous in store for us, using this large circular contraption. No, it's not an industrial washing machine or an overgrown donut. It's actually a torture device with a potentially lethal twist. You can see that a table bisects the contraption. There's nothing above or below, as the magician is willing to prove. And since he's probably a bit too stout to fit inside that ring of terror, he calls in one of his lovely assistants. Cute outfit. And the ponytail is a nice touch. Let's hope she looks as good when he gets through with her. His team of assistants enters and quickly goes to work. The 2 male assistants lift the girl onto the table, while the 2 women prepare to secure her inside the ring. Meanwhile, the magician stands by, ready to take all of the credit. Now that the girl is in position, we can see that her head and ponytail protrude from one side of the ring and her feet hang out the other. Whatever he has in mind, this guy's pretty kinky. And he goes for girls with bare feet. This illusion is more telling than I expected. If there are any psychiatrists in the audience, I bet you could have a field day with the masked man. He places the girl in a trance. The lovely lady is at his mercy. And it's too bad for her because he's now holding a very sharp blade made of surgical steel. Maybe she should have read the fine print in her contract before getting into that thing. The blade goes into the device and through the girl just above the knee. Told you he was kinky. But he's not done. A second blade is now inserted straight through her torso. For those of you scoring at home, she's now divided in 3 sections. But she hasn't lost all motor skills. Her feet are still moving. The magician directs 2 of his assistants to do more of his dirty work. The device is now rotated a quarter turn, separating the girl's head and feet from her midsection. For a girl who's completely gone to pieces, she doesn't seem to mind. Maybe her ponytail is too tight. Better put her back together before she realizes something is up. That shouldn't be. She's lowered back to a more appropriate horizontal position, but the magician will leave it up to her to put her life back together. So how does the magician slice his beautiful assistant in thirds without winding up in the slammer? The secret is ingenious. First of all, the blades are real, and they are dangerously sharp. They're not part of the secret. The secrets lie within the circular contraption. From behind, we can see that it's cleverly constructed to contain 2 different compartments. When the illusion begins, the girl is loaded into the device, but she's not being placed on the table, like we are led to believe. Here's how it looks from the back. We can see that her legs are being fed into the compartment in the top of the ring. She can even pull herself inside with the help of some handy hand straps. From the front, it appears as though she's lying across the table with her head and feet exposed on either end. But that's just an illusion. Her legs are snug inside the upper half of the circle. But what about the feet coming out of the other side? They look pretty real. That's because they are. Before the illusion began, another assistant was secretly concealed in the bottom half of the ring. It's her feet we see coming out of the side of the device. As the girl on top is being loaded in from one side, the hidden assistant below slips her feet out the other side. It looks uncomfortable, and it is. But these women know that mind-blowing magic comes with a price. In this case, you get 2 for the price of 1. Now what about the torso in the center of the device? Here's the next secret. Preloaded into the top of the contraption is a body cast that perfectly matches the girl's fine form. Remember how the magician seemed to be just standing around while everyone else was doing all the work? He was actually doing the important job of blocking the center of the ring from view. From behind, we can see that another assistant was busy taking the body cast out of the top of the circle and placing it in the center. Here's what you'd see without the masked magician standing in the way. Maybe he does have a tough job after all. With the girls in the fake body in place, the magician is ready to insert the sharp blades. There's never any danger to the girls. Here's the secret. From the back, we can see that the center wall of the contraption protects them from harm. All that's left to do now is spin the circle and create the illusion of separating the girl in 3. From behind, we see it's all about the cleverly designed device and the flexibly designed girls. A setup like this could make the mind wander to other tricky situations. But enough about that. As for this trick, you now know the secrets.
Up next, the magician shows you the devilish secrets to capturing an invisible spirit and conjuring up an incredible girl. And then, find out how a 5-ton elephant appears from nowhere.
The magician will now attempt to trap a spirit using nothing but this ordinary, bright-colored handkerchief. An accessory no well-dressed masked man should be without. He shows us that there is nothing on either side of the handkerchief, except for the chic and stylish pattern. He places the handkerchief down onto the table and magically summons a spirit. Do you see it? Of course not. Spirits are invisible. But just to make sure it doesn't escape, the magician folds in the corners of the handkerchief, trapping the invisible spirit inside. But I still don't believe there's a spirit in there, so he's got some convincing to do. And what's that? Look what just popped up. Maybe there's something inside after all. Better calm it down before things get out of hand. Nope, this little guy wants to come out and play. He's gone, and I bet he won't call in the morning either. So that's how you play around with spirits. So, did the magician really trap an invisible spirit in his handkerchief? If you think so, you might be enjoying some spirits of your own. Of course, there's a secret. Aside from the obnoxious pattern, this seems like a very ordinary handkerchief. But in the magician's warehouse, nothing is ordinary. Secretly sewn into one corner of the handkerchief is a small wire rod. When he presses down on the end of this rod, it makes the handkerchief pop up and appear as if a spirit is trapped inside. Take a look at how harmless the gimmick really is. Just a thin piece of very stiff wire. At the corner, the wire has been bent at a slight angle. This bend gives the magician the leverage he needs to make the wire rod lift the handkerchief. Once the corners are folded in towards the center, all the magician has to do is locate the bend with his thumb and press down. The rod does the rest of the work. Ah, if only everything worked this easily. When he removes his right hand, he rolls the tip of the rod around with his left, convincing the audience that there is definitely some hanky-panky happening underneath the handkerchief. And that's how he captures a spirit. No one knows that gaudy fabric is hiding a tiny little rod. This illusion is one of the classics of magic, dating back more than 100 years. The magician enters and examines this empty four-legged wooden frame. From the round top, he lowers a chain. Next, his beautiful assistants wheel in a clothing rack filled with costumes, though most of their wardrobe could probably fit in a coin purse. One of his assistants makes a selection, a suitably seductive two-piece number and a pair of heels. The magician now hangs the costume from the chain as his assistants bring in a large hooded cloak. Kind of an extreme contrast in clothing, but whatever. I'm sure it's part of his plan. As they attach the cloak to the frame, a ghostly mannequin head is introduced. Creepy. Once the cloak is in place, the magician sets the head on top of the frame. The cloak's hood is pulled up and over the head, and the assistants spin the entire frame. How about that? The mannequin has transformed into another beautiful girl, dressed in the sexy two-piece. That's one way to find a date for a Saturday night. But there's a secret to how he did it. So, how did the magician use an empty frame, a sexy costume, a large cloak, and a mannequin head to create a beautiful assistant? The secrets are incredibly simple. As the assistants wheel in the clothing rack, the girl who will materialize secretly sneaks in, hidden by the costumes. While the magician is busy hanging the sexy outfit on the chain, his assistants prepare to bring him the large cloak. They hold it open so that it will hide the girl's path from behind the wardrobe rack to her next hiding spot, behind the frame. Once the assistants out front have closed the front of the cloak, the girl can slip inside the frame unnoticed. But what about the costume the magician hung inside the frame? The hollow base of this unit is constructed with flexible rubber pockets to hide the clothes. As the two assistants are adjusting the cloak, the girl inside is busy hiding the duplicate costume and shoes in the hollow base. The mannequin head is placed on the frame, and the hood is pulled into position. The hood secretly contains a wire frame which allows it to hold its shape when the girl inside removes the head. From the side, you can see the head removed, while the hood stays upright. The girl quickly hides the head in a secret pocket sewn into the cloak, then hides a wooden plug in the base, leaving a space for her to stand up for her glamorous appearance. The two assistants quickly remove the cloak with its gimmicked hood and secret pocket, and all attention focuses on the appearance of the lovely lady. Once again, the women do all the work, and the magician gets all the glory.
Up next, things get gory when the magician reveals the penetrating secret to impaling human flesh. And then, a 5-ton elephant magically appears from nowhere while surrounded by a crowd of witnesses.
The magician will now attempt a dangerous trick that's not for the faint of heart or stomach. If you have an aversion to the sight of scary tricks, now's the time to look away. Or watch, if you dare. He's about to give himself a trendy body piercing the hard way. By the way, don't try this one at home. With his sleeve rolled up, the magician takes a long, stainless steel needle and jams it through his forearm. It's slow going, but he forces it through the flesh and muscle. I told you this was going to be upsetting, and it's about to get even gorier. The magician begins to withdraw the needle, and sure enough, he lets loose a small gusher of blood. I keep reminding myself that this is just a trick. He'd better pull it out before he gets weak in the knees. I know I am. There it is. He's a braver man than I, and I keep reminding myself that it's just an illusion. So how did the magician thrust the needle through his forearm and draw blood without inflicting serious injury? Rest assured, this is just an illusion, and the blood is all part of the gag. The secret is in this ordinary bottle of rubber cement. Before the trick begins, the magician takes a healthy dose of the clear cement and applies it to his forearm. He's careful to get complete coverage on his skin. When the cement dries, it will be impossible to detect. Now when the magician appears to plunge the needle into his arm, he's merely pressing it against his skin. He struggles a bit to make the illusion more convincing. Once the needle appears to be completely inserted into his arm, he pinches his skin around the steel. The rubber cement causes the skin to stick to itself. The effect is pretty gruesome, but not grisly enough for our masked man. He wants us to see blood. That's where a trick needle comes in handy. It's secretly hollow, and the knob on the end is really a rubber bulb that contains fake stage blood. The magician uses the needle like a turkey baster, squeezing it to suck up the fake blood into the rubber bulb, then squirting it out when the time is right for maximum horror. Squeezing the bulb lightly is enough to force the fake blood out of a tiny hole in the hollow steel tube. All he has to do now is withdraw the needle from the glued folds of his skin, and for this next illusion, the magician has assembled a group of volunteers to witness the magic. This one will be performed in a completely empty parking lot in broad daylight to eliminate any possibility of trapdoors, secret panels, mirrors, or other stage trickery. He arranges the witnesses in a circle around 2 large sheets. Like the Pied Piper, they follow him and do exactly what he says, taking their positions in a circle, completely surrounding the sheets. As we walk with him, we can see that the area around the circle of witnesses is completely clear and free from boxes, trucks, or other foreign objects. Except for the witnesses, the assistants, and the camera crew, no one is allowed in this secured lot. Now that the magician is pleased with the placement of his spectators and satisfied that we have seen 360 degrees, he's ready to make some magic. He gives some instructions to his assistants, commanding them to raise the larger of the two sheets. We can see that aside from some long poles that are sewn inside to hold it upright, the sheet does not appear to be gimmicked in any way. We continue our walk with the magician, seeing exactly what the witnesses see. Nothing unusual here, other than a man in a red shirt and a scary black mask. We've now walked to the other side of the sheet. There's nothing extraordinary to report here. The magician commands his assistants to bring in the sides of the sheet, forming a large three-sided box. Now to close it up. He commands the smaller sheet to be raised to form the front of the box. Not much of a trick, but there it is, a big fabric box in the middle of a parking lot. Maybe he's not done. He tells his assistants to hang on firmly to the large sheets as they battle the wind. This is the high cost of doing a trick outside. One final command for the TV audience to keep our eyes on the box, and the magician prepares to reveal the results of his conjuring. Let's watch. What do you know? A 5-ton elephant. Where did he come from? He was definitely not on the witness list. The girls are impressed. Maybe the masked magician can do real magic after all. So how does the magician make the elephant appear from nowhere in the middle of the lot while encircled by spectators? It sounds impossible. It is. Here are the secrets. First off, let's start with the group of spectators. The secret here is they're all in on the trick. The magician has no trouble positioning them in a circle since they've been rehearsed. This 360-degree walk is designed to convince us that the parking lot is empty and free of wandering elephants. Next, the large sheet is raised. Again, we can see the surrounding parking lot appears empty, but appearances are deceiving. We know he had to be hiding somewhere in this vast, seemingly empty lot. But where? We've been looking at his hiding place the entire time. Don't you remember seeing it? You did. Constructed near a group of trees by the edge of the lot is a painted Hollywood backdrop and some fake trees. This is the elephant's hiding place. Sound far-fetched? It's true. And chances are, it fooled you. Even though this looks like a setup that a cartoon roadrunner might use to trick a wily coyote, it's actually an effective hiding place for the elephant and his trainer. No one would ever expect a real pachyderm could be stashed away behind some phony trees in the middle of a parking lot, completely undetected. But the farther away the camera travels, the more deceptive the phony setup looks. See it now? When you know it's there, it's much easier to spot. The trick is that you didn't see it the first time because you didn't know where to look. This continuous camera angle from the illusion is low and only shows the front side of the sheet. The trick only works from this perspective because as the sheet is raised, the elephant begins to approach from the rear. From this high angle, you can see the elephant walking toward the sheet as the fabric box is being constructed. From this low angle, the sheet is blocking the approaching elephant. The paid witnesses step aside to allow the elephant and his trainers some room to sneak through the circle. From the low angle in front, there's no sign of the elephant. Two stagehands who are dressed like spectators tear open the back of the fabric box and the elephant walks inside. The sheet is held together with long Velcro strips. As soon as the elephant is inside, the Velcro is quickly resealed. When the front sheet is lowered, it looks as though the elephant has appeared from out of the blue. And that's the secret to making an elephant appear from nowhere.
Next time, the Masked Magician returns to reveal more of magic's biggest secrets.
Next, and throughout the night here on ITV4, join Will and Dr. Magnus as their journey to save the planet continues. Back-to-back episodes of the first series of Sanctuary are on the way.